Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to Fandom Frequency. Before we go any further, click that like and smash that subscribe button. We're trying to reach our first 100 subscribers by the end of the year. That's right, man. By December 31st, 2021, we want to reach our first 100 subscribers. So join that effort today, and we got a really special giveaway and really cool thing we're going to announce for that real soon. So keep your eyes peeled on that. We got a really cool giveaway for you guys. So if you show the support, we're going to show that support right back to you guys. So with no further ado, let's get into the main topic. Why you click the video? Ghostbusters Afterlife, baby. After all the delays, all the hoopla, it's finally here, guys. And it's been exactly 5 years. Well, not exactly, but a little over 5 years since the last Ghostbusters installment. And that's technically not in this series because that was a remake. And without getting too far into the controversy, guys, wasn't a huge fan of it. Love the casting. The director is one of my favorite comedic directors of today, Paul Feig. Just a swing and a miss, man. And I just feel that regardless of what their intentions were or whatever the case was, I know they wanted to make a dope movie. No filmmaker sets out to make a shitty movie. Some filmmakers are lazy, but this guy isn't. He had the passion for it. But I just think Sony and everyone involved at the time didn't quite understand what made Ghostbusters special. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they fully understood it. So it just didn't quite get there. And I know they were trying. I know they brought the original cast for some little cameos, but they were just really bad cameos. Some of the worst cameos from returning characters I can think of in the last few years. If anyone can correct me, drop it in the comments. I'd love to get into a discussion with you guys about it. But at the end of the day, it wasn't the Ghostbusters that people were looking for fully, even though it has its fans out there. So Sony and the team had to go back to the drawing board, hit up our boy Dan Aykroyd and say, how are we going to get this right, guys? What are we going to do? And it had been about 2 or 3 years before we heard anything. I think it was like circa 2019. I think when they announced that our boy Jason Reitman, the son of the original director of Ghostbusters and tons of other movies, Ivan Reitman, his son was hired and brought in to do this movie, man, and to do the official Ghostbusters 3, the continuation that Dan Aykroyd and all us Ghostbusters fans have been wanting since 1989. Not me, I wasn't born yet, but you know what I'm saying. And this was it. And obviously, Jason Reitman is going to come to this material with a lot of respect, a lot of love, a lot of reverence. His father created it. This is his family's legacy. So, of course, he felt that, not burden, but that responsibility. And he put in a lot of heart and positivity into this movie. And getting into the movie itself, that's one of my main positives of this movie, is the tone and the overall story and the pitch that Jason Reitman went with. We're going to create a family Amblin-inspired adventure film, sci-fi, all that good jazz. We're going to make a family, heartwarming, centric movie first and foremost, and we're going to kind of evolve the Ghostbusters brand and kind of update it and bring it to today. And I thought they did a very great job with that. And the whole entire story centered around Spangler, played by the late great Harold Ramis. Rest in peace, brother. That was so awesome. The way that they wrote this story out is amazing to me. As a Ghostbusters fan, this is what you want, and this is something that maybe we wouldn't have thought of, but was so well done. The whole story of Spangler pretty much abandoning his family to go track down this hot spot for ghosts underneath this mine town called Sunnyvale in Oklahoma. And it was actually built by none other than Ivo Shandor from the OG movies, and we'll get more into him later. But he built this mining town, made another sculpture thing to get sacrifices for Gozer and all that stuff. And wow, the way that they tied that all in was beautiful. And the way that he made the farmhouse that he ran away to, and it's essentially a giant ghost trap, was amazing. And the way that they did it at the beginning of the film, I thought was a very good bait and switch, because you're kind of thinking, is our boy Spangler a non like an absentee dad? Is he a deadbeat motherfucker? Like, what happened? But we realize he sort of was, but sort of wasn't. He was trying to save the world from this madness, and he didn't feel like he could drag his family along and keep them safe. And also his friends, Ray and Winston and Peter Venkman, they didn't even believe him. They're like, dude, you're tripping. We took care of that years ago. We ain't seen a ghost for like 10 years, brother. You need to chill. And they didn't believe him. They thought he lost it. They thought he just fell off his rocker. And him being the kind of quirky scientist of the bunch, it does tie in and make sense. Out of the four characters, who do you think would make the most sense to go out and do this mission, other than maybe Ray? Is definitely Spangler. Because Venkman wouldn't feel that obligated to do it, and Winston seemed to want to step away from it to do something new, even though, as we see at the end of this film, he has reverence, respect, and love for it, and he might be getting back involved. We'll see. But it was really cool to see how the characters have grown and evolved since then. But anyways, getting back to the main point I was making here with the family story, with his daughter, Callie, played by Carrie Coon, and also his grandkids, Finn Wolfhard, who's playing Trevor, and the main shining star of the film, pretty much the main character, Phoebe, played by McKenna Grace, who is literally one of the best, if not the best, kid actor right now. Much love to you, girl. You're killing it, man. I can see some Macaulay Culkin, but female version in this. I think you got a future, man. Just keep it up. But she was amazing in this movie as Phoebe, and I really connected to her character, just being that outcast, being that nerd, and being kind of misunderstood and not even fitting in with her own family in a way, but being so similar to her grandfather without even knowing him was such a great and smart way to write that, man. And you really can see the Spangler in her, not just her demeanor, but her visually and the way that she carries herself. It was so awesome, man. And just the way that the whole family came to the farm, because that's all he left them, because he didn't leave them anything else. They're down in the luck. They don't have much money. They got evicted from their old place. So right then and there, you're already connected to these characters, and you're already wanting them to succeed and find prosperity and find a new start wherever they're going and whatever they're doing. But we know craziness is about to ensue, and it does. And I just love this whole family arc to this movie. And it's definitely a much different tone than the original film, but I fucking love it. And it works, man. And just all around, the cast is so damn good, man. Like I said, Finn Wolfhard as Trevor. Could have did a little more with him in the first half of the movie, which is one of my minor negatives of the film. I'm just going to kind of jump all over the place here. But I really liked Finn Wolfhard in this. He definitely played this character a little bit different than characters we've seen him play before, but not too much so. So you see why they cast him. But he was really good in this movie, very likable, and I thought he fit into this Ghostbusters world very well. And I hope to see him come back for the next one, and they give him a little more to do in the next film, because I like that he was doing the mechanical work. I like that he got the Ecto-1 running, and he could kind of be the gadget guy, and then Phoebe's kind of the science person. You know what I'm saying? So I hope they kind of give him as much time in the limelight in a way with Phoebe in the next one, because we built her up so much and we know a little bit about Trevor. I'd like to see them go forward together and really be working on the Ghostbusters stuff together and really be leading the charge together as a team. I would really like to see that. And their overall relationship as siblings, I thought, was well done and not cliche with the arguing and the bickering and the constant back and forth. They have little ones, but it's not anything major. It's normal sibling type behavior. So I really like that they had a lot of love and a lot of respect for each other, but they would butt heads every now and again because they're so different as people. But at the same time, they didn't bog it down, and we still got to have a lot of fun. And when it comes to other characters in this film, my boy Paul Rudd, the sexiest man alive of 2021, baby. Much congratulations to you, brother. That's a panty dropper, even though he's married. But yeah, man, Paul Rudd as Greg Gruberson, Mr. Gruberson, in this movie, This guy just elevates every movie he's in. How do you not like Paul Rudd? And he is such a fun character in this movie. And I like that he's a seismologist and he's actually really smart, but still kind of goofy at the same time. So you get the typical Paul Rudd that you're used to seeing, but at the same time, you get a new type of character for him to play that you don't normally see. So that was really awesome overall, man. And another highlight I want to say for the cast, Logan Kim as podcast, the little Asian kid that's literally doing the podcast the whole time. This kid is a star, man. Other than a few jokes that I thought weren't the best, but that isn't his fault, this kid is funny, charming, and a really good actor. Like, he hit all the beats he needed to hit. He wasn't doing any, Oscar level dramatic work or anything. But this kid is so awesome. He has chemistry with every actor he's on screen with, just like my girl McKenna Grace. Like, this kid's gonna be a star, man. I really hope so. He's really awesome in this movie, and I thought he added a nice outsider of the regular Ghostbusters element, but someone that's in the town and knows the town well and stuff like that. And I like that he was interested in the paranormal, into ghosts and stuff like that. And I love that he wasn't necessarily privy to the Ghostbusters, but it did kind of ring a bell. So I like that he was kind of the horror, sci-fi, ghost nerd of the group, and it felt genuine and not overdone. And I really appreciate that, because a lot of these podcast type characters and movies lately, like Godzilla vs. Kong as an example, didn't like that character. Love Brian Tyree Henry. Didn't like that character. Obnoxious, cliche, over the top. This was none of those things. So I'm hoping in the future when they do these podcasts, conspiracy theorist type characters, tone it down a little bit. There's still people that are normal. They just have a interesting interest and passion or whatever. But anyways, podcast, Logan Kim, you're a star, man. And literally one of my favorite characters in this movie. And it was going to go down as one of my favorite Ghostbusters characters, bar none. Love this kid. And last but not least, my biggest surprise of the film, J.K. motherfucking Simmons is Ivo Shandor. That's right. The guy that built the New York building in #1, the guy that built this mining town and has been pretty much leading the cult for Gozer, is in this thing. And I love the way that they tied this all into the original film without negating the second one completely. Like, Ivo Shandor had came to this town, reestablished his stuff, and he had this timeline written in the wall when they went down to that little tomb or whatever, and they saw, Krakatoa in 1908 or whatever, 1945. He had a lot of fucked up shit going on. 1984, 2021. So he's like literally writing down the years that they're going to come attack and that they've came and attacked before. So I love the way that they weaved Ivo Shandor, Gozer, and Zool and the gatekeeper and the keymaster and all that mythology was tied so well into this, and ties in to regular history in real life, our life, and ties into the history of their world. And the Ghostbusters are a known thing, but to older people that were around in the 80s and 90s, and it makes sense. Because Phoebe even says, it happened 20 years before we were born, dude. And when she's talking to Paul Rudd's character he's like, oh, you have a ghost trap. You didn't know about the Ghostbusters? Like, how do you not know that? And she's like, dude, we weren't born yet. That was 20 years before. And he's like, oh, yeah. And that makes sense. There's a lot of kids coming to see this film in real life today that haven't seen the original Ghostbusters. They weren't even alive anywhere near that. I was actually born 10 years after that film came out. So even I wasn't around. So I like the way that they weave that in. They didn't negate it, but it makes sense that the kids didn't know everything about it. You know what I'm saying? The internet didn't exist. It's whatever bits of footage people had on camera that made its way online. And we've all seen that from, 70s through the 90s stuff getting onto YouTube. That definitely happens. So I love the way that they weave that in. It's just so awesome, man. And these were the cameos that Ghostbusters fans wanted. Ray Stantz, Winston Zeddemore, you know what I'm saying? Peter Venkman, Annie Potts' character, Janine, even comes back. And they all have a nice, fun role in the movie that makes sense, stays true to their character, but also evolves them for today and changes them up. And my number one positive with that was how they made Winston Zeddemore a multi-billionaire. He is like the black Bruce Wayne. You know what I'm saying? I love how the guy that got shortchanged the most in the original Ghostbusters gets to have the coolest, like, kind of arc, or kind of has the coolest place in the franchise now. You know what I'm saying? And the way that he's going to be funding the new Ghostbusters and was actually helping Ray keep his Ray's Occult shop open wherever the hell that's open at. So I love the way that they tied that all in, and it makes sense with his character. He came in for a steady paycheck, realized that he wasn't going to get that after Ghostbusters 2, so he had the ingenuity to start something new and was inspired by those guys and what they started. So I love the way that that all came together, and the way the Ghostbusters were called back in, where Phoebe found the original commercial.
Ghostbusters, we're ready to believe you.
You know what I mean? She found that, and she got the number, wrote it down, and Ray still has that phone number at his Ray's Occult shop. So the whole way that they bring in the Ghostbusters makes total sense. They know where Spangler went. They can see where the phone call came from. It's easy and it's simple. Oh shit, there's a big earthquake going on in Oklahoma. What the fuck's going on there? We got news coverage all over the place on our cell phones and stuff. So it totally makes sense. And then them coming in at the last minute right there to save the day, to go against Gozer one more time. And this time, they are a god. You know what I'm saying? And it's just so well done. Like, the third act is such a blast, dude. They definitely take their time getting there, and that's one of my other positives. I like the pacing. I like that they took their time to get to that point, and the kids had to discover the gear, learn how to use it, discover Ghost, and see what's going on. I like that they kind of took their time with it and kind of built up the characters in the first half so we can have a lot of fun ghost busting in the second half and don't have to do all that heavy lifting. Smart stuff. Even the original Ghostbusters got going quicker, but it still took about 30 minutes to really set up the team and kind of get things going. So a little slower on this one, but I like it. And overall, I just love the way that they just tied in everything, man, and just ended this off in such a resonant way where you get the ghost of Spangler, where they kind of like aged up Harold Ramis or something. They got like footage of him. I don't know how they did it. And they brought him back, and he's literally helping Phoebe cross the streams to try to get Gozer caught and extinguished. And it was awesome. It was like a straight up shot out of Dragon Ball Z when freaking Goku was helping Gohan do the Kamehameha to take out Cell. It's exactly like something like that. And I've always wanted to see a moment like that with something more sci-fi and nerdy like this. And they finally did it. And it was so well done, and you really felt the emotion. Like, imagine if your best friend or your dad or your granddad, someone you lost and cared about, came back and can help you achieve your goal. Like, how awesome is that? And just getting to see him talk to the guys again a little bit, even though he doesn't speak, it's cool to get them to say, hey, what's up, man? And get to see him give his daughter one big hug. And it was awesome how Carrie Coon's character, or Callie earlier, before she got possessed and turned into the key holder or whatever with Paul Rudd's character, which was another fun little gag right there. I loved how she discovered his lab and saw the mural of pictures he had, kind of like tracking her life. Like, he never stopped caring and loving her. He kept keeping tabs on her and seeing what she was doing throughout her life. He just knew that he had a mission to do, and she couldn't help him with it. But that's the beautiful thing about this movie. He would have achieved what he was trying to do if he did have people helping him, because that's why they do it at the end of this movie. Everyone is helping out. Everyone is teaming up together, crossing the streams and bringing down Gozer and setting the trap off with the pedal and everything. If everyone wasn't there at their designated spots at the times they were there, it never would have worked. And that's the beautiful thing with this, man. It all makes sense. He just couldn't get it going on his own. And I love that. And it teaches you can't always do it alone. You got to have the people you care about to help you sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to step up and do certain things alone, but sometimes you need your friends and your family to help you pull through. I just love this movie, man. Like, the only real negatives I can knock this movie for, I wish they had a few new ghosts or entities to go along with the little mini Stay Puft Marshmallows and the gargoyle dogs and everything like that. I liked Muncher. That was a cool, similar thing that's new. And for the kids and people that haven't seen the original two, this will be something completely fresh for them. And when they go back and see Slimer, they'll be like, oh, okay, it was a wink and a nod, but not an obvious one. So I thought that was one of the bestly placed and used things of nostalgia, other than just the stuff with the Ghostbusters themselves. But yeah, I just wish we had some new cool ghosts to kind of be iconic for this new generation. And I hope for the next one, we just get new ghosts. You know what I mean? That's the only thing. I love seeing Gozer, the key holder, the key master, all that stuff. Zool. I love seeing that in this one. It was great to bring that stuff back and kind of tie that loose end up and kind of close out this trilogy. But if they're going to continue on, I hope they bring in some fresh creative ideas for ghosts, demons, and of the like. You know what I mean? So that's one of my only negatives. And I wish that Carrie Coon's character Callie and Finn Wolfhard's Trevor got a little more character development in the first half. You understand that Callie feels betrayed, left behind, and all these things, and she's a little more cynical about life in itself. But I wish we got a little more time with her and her relationship with Gruberson and stuff like that, and got a little more sense of who she was as a woman outside of just her pain. You know what I mean? So just to get a little more time with her would have been nice. And Finn Wolfhard's character could have had a little more of a dynamic arc to kind of have a change throughout the film. Would have been nice. But where he's placed, he is used well. So I can't knock it too hard. But those are really the only negatives I have with this movie. It's a fucking awesome movie, man. And I can't recommend it enough. If you like fun, adventure, sci-fi movies, this is for you. If you love Ghostbusters, this is definitely made for you. If you don't like Ghostbusters that much, I don't know how much you're going to enjoy this as much as someone like me, but I think there's enough of a fresh new story with awesome characters to draw you in. And I think if you give it a chance, I think you'll like it. But overall, I've got to give this thing, out of 10 proton packs, I'm going to give it 9 proton packs out of 10, baby. This is an excellent Ghostbusters movie. This is an awesome sequel to a movie, and overall, this is a really fucking awesome movie. And I understand there's a little too much nostalgia for some of you out there, but you're talking to a kid that grew up watching Ghostbusters every year for Halloween, all that jazz. I loved it. I watched the real Ghostbusters cartoon every Saturday, so I'm sorry, man. I got those nostalgia glasses on, but as a film in and of itself, this film kicks ass, and I can't recommend it enough for all of you out there. But what did you think of the film? Too much nostalgia? Not enough? Was it great? Was it in the middle? Do you miss the original tone of that SNL kind of vibe? Or do you like this new family adventure kind of vibe? You let me know in the comment section. I really want to talk to y'all out there and get into some nerdy debates and discussions about this new Ghostbusters, baby. But regardless of people's opinions, let's just try to respect each other out there and have fun, because once again, guys, it's just pop culture. It's entertainment. Let's be entertained and have fun. But until next time, guys, make sure you stay safe out there. Remember, we're trying to reach those first 100 subscribers. Click that subscribe button. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, much love to you. Keep clicking those download buttons. Stay tuned. Don't sleep. And that's one big Twinkie.